Mr. Bob's Railroad Workbench, where we talk about math, science, history, and trains, and do it all with some very fun activities. I'm Mr. Bob Lettenberger, Education Director for the National Railroad Museum. If you are watching us live on Facebook and want to type in a question, feel free to do so. We'll answer those right after the segment. If you would like to just type in and let us know who you are and where you're watching from, well, we'd love to hear from you. Also, make sure you like the National Railroad Museum's Facebook page. Today, history and a look at another piece in the National Railroad Museum's collection. We are looking at Soo Line locomotive 715. If we go back to the early 1960s, General Motors Electromotive Division that built Soo Line 715 had entered into a horsepower race with their competitor, General Electric. Both companies were attempting to field higher horsepower locomotives to satisfy the demands of the railroads here in the United States. The General Electric Company had just fielded their U-25 locomotive, which dinged in at 2,500 horsepower. General Motors, through EMD, answered with the GP30. They released this in the early 1960s. GP standing for General Purpose. The 30, well, there's one of the interesting things about this particular locomotive. If you look at the numbering from previous models of General Electric GP series locomotives, we find a 7, a 9, a 24. Well, no real rhyme or reason, so why now do we jump to 30? Well, the engineers at EMD felt that there were 30 significant improvements for this particular model, hence GP30. Another interesting distinguishing feature for the GP30 is the contour of the cab and the upper part of the long hood. Again, EMD used their automotive stylists, as they had done in the mid-1950s with the Aerotrain, to create a more appealing look for the GP30. Now, the Soo Line did order a number of GP30 locomotives. You see number 715 here in Schiller Park, Illinois at the Soo Line facilities shortly after it was delivered. There was something very interesting about Soo Line's GP30 locomotives. Being thrifty, they traded in a number of ALCO, American Locomotive Company, FA freight locomotives, and asked that EMD use the ALCO trucks to go under the GP30s. So the Soo Line GP30 locomotives, and you see here number 707, are very unique from the standpoint that they ride on traded-in ALCO trucks. Number 715 eventually worked for the Wisconsin Central Railroad after they took over Soo Line trackage here in the upper Midwest. In the early 90s, with the assistance of the Soo Line Historical Society, number 715 was donated to the National Railroad Museum, and today, along with Green Bay and Western 315, are at the head of our freight train display next to our McCormick Pavilion. So next time you stop into the National Railroad Museum, stroll down the freight train line and, well, you'll see GP30 number 715, which originally was built for the Soo Line and eventually ended its career with the Wisconsin Central before being preserved at the National Railroad Museum. The National Railroad Museum inspires lifelong learning by providing dynamic educational opportunities through the preservation of railroad objects, engaging exhibits, and innovative programs. As a non-profit educational institution, we are supported by both public and private donations and our museum members. If you would like more information on how to support the museum or to become a museum member, please visit our website, nationalrrmuseum.org. And as always, thank you so very much for your continued support. Hey, I'm Mr. Bob, and thank you very much for visiting Mr. Bob's Railroad Workbench, and we hope to see you here again real soon.